Hello and welcome to For the Love of Baby Boomer Show. I'm your host, Dolores Clybert, and today we have an interesting show. Our show is based on legacy, and we have someone who is experienced in it and is in the real estate field. We have with us today Alan. Welcome, Alan.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Great. So would you please tell us, let's start with, are you a baby boomer?
I'm definitely a baby boomer.
Oh, what's your year?
1953.
All right, 53 in the house. Okay. So tell us about your business. How did you get in it? How did it start? You know, all those.
Right. Mm-hmm. It got started, my father and his brother started building homes.
Okay.
And they were building homes in subdivisions. Some of the subdivisions may have had 300 homes in them.
Wow.
And this was back in the 60s when you could buy a house for, $14,000, $15,000, $16,000.
Yeah.
My father was the type of person that their office was actually at the construction site.
Okay, so he was on site.
So he was on site every day, and keeping up with everything that needed to be done as far as construction. And on Sundays, he was out there trying to sell the house.
Oh my goodness! Okay, so he was multitasking.
Multitasking. He was the type of person that would come home for dinner, go right back to the office.
Okay.
And I remember one Sunday I went with him,
mm-hmm.
and he went off to, a couple came in, they wanted to see a house that was already built. So he went to show him that house, and here I am, probably maybe 9 years old, maybe a little even younger than that.
Very impressive age.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So another family walks in the model house.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I said, my father is showing a house right now, but how can I help you?
Oh, you just stepped right in.
So I actually showed him the house and, showed him, detailed on every room that was in the house, right?
Okay.
And by the time my father got back and he had taken care of the other couple,
mm-hmm.
These people bought a house.
They bought a house.
They bought
the house that you showed.
Well, they bought a house to be built.
Yeah.
And, my father was like flabbergasted.
Mm.
And I said, I just put one foot in front of the other as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And I told him, I said, I'm not the actual salesperson, but that was.
So you did your disclaimer, and then you put one foot in front of the other.
Right.
All right.
And everything that I have learned actually came from working with my father.
Great.
Working, just being in the property management business.
Mm-hmm.
Back in the 80s, I actually worked for one of my father's competitors.
Oh, okay. So you went outside.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and that was, every management company does things differently.
Right.
So you kind of get an education on what other people do.
Working experience.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
And, back in those days, I was actually in charge of, I had about 4 or 5 different multifamily housing properties
mm-hmm.
that I was over top of their maintenance departments.
So you did a variety.
Right.
Yeah. And maintenance is another perspective. You
Sure.
see things differently from that point
Right.
as well. Yeah.
And I think what I have, I'm patting myself on the back.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that people have actually come to me, not just one person,
mm-hmm.
but I've had multiple people say that I'm the best landlord in Richmond.
Oh.
So I'm patting myself on the back thinking, I wonder who else does the same thing I do. Because I hope they're out there,
mm-hmm. Yeah.
I also am not the type of person that thinks as my competition is somebody I have to compete against.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
Because I want them to do well.
As well.
Then the reason why is because if I have one vacancy, I want them to have one vacancy. If I have, say, I had 5 vacancies and the other person is full, then I'm doing something wrong.
Okay, because you are empty and they are full.
Full, right.
And the whole goal is to be full.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know?
So what other things do you think gives you that reputation where you're the best? Okay. There's something, there's a formula there. What
Right.
do you think that is part of that formula? Because that's number one.
Sure.
It's a great reputation to have.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that everybody in Richmond knows that, but
I have to jump in here. I've heard it from various people, okay?
Right.
And I don't know you other than seeing you around.
Sure.
And that is, I mean, it's awesome to have different people saying the same thing.
Right.
So there's a formula. You have something, whether you know it or not.
The main thing, the main goal is, is to be proactive with anything that needs to be done on any said property.
Proactive, okay.
And meaning that, it's just like with the HVAC or heat pumps is I have a company that does all of my HVAC work, right? Mm-hmm. I know for a fact that I pay more for them than, say, a gentleman that's in the HVAC company and only has a couple of trucks out there.
Okay.
It's a big, huge company, and the way I run that, or the way they came to me, is I have a contract with them. Mm-hmm. So every 90 days, they come out, change the filters, but they also check the systems.
Okay.
They, put their meters on everything, and they can tell me if maybe something is still working, but it's going to break.
Okay. So proactive, yes.
And so I would rather be in a situation where go ahead and replace it now instead of waiting for it to break down when it's 95 degrees outside.
And a lot of people do that.
People, even though I've had, my tenants have always been understanding of when something like that has happened, I don't want them to be in that situation.
Of course, yes. Good.
So another good example is this last winter, right around the holidays, I had this building that we're sitting in.
Okay.
The sump pump, the drain lines going back to the ditch, the outside ditch. Mm-hmm. It was so cold outside that the drain lines
did it freezed
over. And I got in touch with everybody, and I got in touch with the right people. I have a gentleman also that I've been doing business with, does my carpet cleaning, but he also abstracts water.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And it never fails. It's going to be on a Friday evening around 4 or 5 o'clock.
When everybody's closed up, gone home to eat, whatever.
Well, in water abstraction and carpet cleaning, they know they're going to get phone calls.
Okay.
And fortunately, the gentleman that I used was maybe an hour away. Mm-hmm. He was over on Hall Street doing another water abstraction. Mm-hmm. And he told me, I need about an hour, and I'll be there.
Okay, yeah.
And we took and we abstracted all the water. We pulled carpets back. We put fans in. I had my plumber come over here.
You were on it.
And, so, I took care of it that night instead of waiting until in the morning or even Monday.
All right.
I mean, I'm just fortunate that I was even here. Because if nobody was in the office, I wouldn't have known about it.
They would have walked in Monday morning.
And we would have had mold and mildew everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's a big deal.
Yeah, it is.
And so, but that happened on a Friday night. I called all the tenants that were involved. Mm-hmm. And by the following Wednesday, I had everybody back working in their offices.
Mm. Well, you know what I heard from this? I heard relationships. Mm-hmm. I heard communication.
Right.
Okay, so being proactive is one, but also it's relationship. You have relationship with professional people out here that can do their thing.
Sure.
And then you have communication skills, where you say this, that, whatever.
Right.
And all of this is important stuff. Yeah,
and,
any business, really.
And as far as working with the contractors that I use, I like to have a love-hate relationship with them.
Okay. Explain that.
Meaning that we can agree to disagree.
Okay.
Case in point, my HVAC contractor, I got an invoice from him last month, and I looked at that invoice and I looked at what the material cost was. And I called my rep up and I told her name's Mallory, and I told her, I said, Mallory, I love you to death.
But
I said, but I've got a situation. I'm looking at the invoice. The part was $123, and the bill was $593.
Oh my gosh, more than double, triple.
So, and I said, I know I'm doing business with a large company. I get that. I know I'm paying more. I said, but we've got to come to some, an agreement here where we're both happy.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go back, well, I want you to discount this X amount of dollars, knowing that, when you have, I don't know how many employees they have, but they always have, the majority of the time they have material on their trucks.
Right.
Sometimes they have to go to the warehouse and get parts.
Okay.
And it's a big enough company that my hourly rate includes them traveling back and forth.
Okay.
So I was able to get the bill down 10%.
Okay.
But just having a friendly conversation.
Yeah. Expressing yourself. Yeah.
Right. And, and they realize where I'm coming from. And but the nice thing about having a contract with them, the majority of the time, if you were to call me today and say, I don't have any heat or I don't have any air conditioning, if I call them early enough in that daytime, they will be here the same day.
Okay.
If not, they'll be here first thing the following morning.
And that's what you need. Yes. You need that.
Sure.
So you need them, and they need you to stay in business.
Right. And, it's just my landscaper who you just heard outside. I called him last night, and, his brother who works with him had a doctor's appointment. His son had something else going on. So the people that were here didn't do everything. But I called him up and I said, Rainey, and he said, I perfectly understand.
Okay. Well, we have proactive relationships, communication, expressing yourself, all of this.
But doing it in a nice way.
Exactly. Yes.
Right.
Yes. They say you can attract more with honey than with vinegar.
Right. Yeah, I actually use sugar and spice than salt and vinegar.
Okay.
So we're close.
Same thing, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and, I've been fortunate. I've, owned these buildings for 26 years.
Okay.
I have probably only terminated maybe 4 or 5 people over that period of time.
Okay. And I'm sure they weren't doing something right because...
my thing is I don't, if they made a mistake, I can talk to them, they'll correct it. But at the same time, when I have to become a babysitter, then I'm like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm one of these people that will put up a lot before I get to that point where we can't do this any longer.
All right, Alan. Well, we're at the point right now that we're going to take a break.
Okay.
And when we come back, I'd like to know exactly where you at now. Okay. We know how you started, but where you're at now.
Sure.
For the love of baby boomers, we'll be back.